Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Nandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Jai Ram, Madhav Radha, Madhav Jai Radha, Madhav Radha, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Gaur Pimanandi, Jai Vishupad Paramahamsa, Tri Vradgacharya Stotra Satta, Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Shilabhai Charadharmani Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skandibiti, Founder Charya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Gauda Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories. All Sri Gauranga. All glories. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salat Lakshurandiritam Jena Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sarupa Vandeham Srijuta Parakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Ditam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Jaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva
Naram
Narotamam
Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayashabhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttamaśloke
Bhagavate Uttamasloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki.
By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Chakara Bhagavan Rishi
Chakarat Bhagavan Rishi
Nishreyasaya Lokasya
Nishresaya Lokasya
Dhanyam Swasya Namaha.
Dhanyam Swasvayanam Maha.
The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita
Sri
Gadadhara
Advaita Gadadhara
Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta
Sri
Vrinda.
Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
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 Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama
Rama Rama Hare
Rama
Hare
Rama Hare Hare Vasudevaya
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om
Vasudevaya
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Sarabhyai
Om
Namaha.
Surabhyaya Namaha.
Good morning, Bhagavatam class. Special welcome to our Avadut. What is that again? Chandra. Yeah, Mayapur Chandra Das, Avadut Chandra Das. Avadut Chandra Prabhu is coming from America, visiting for second time India, I think, and just staying a few days in Sridham Mayapur, and then he will immerse himself in Brajabhumi, going to Vrindavan for Kartik. His Guru Maharaj is there, Vashishika Prabhu, and Kartik, of course, special period, best period actually, for all the Vaishnavas all over the world, whether one is in Vrindavan or not. Yeah, favorite time of the year. So we will continue our Bhagavatam reading this morning from first canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter number 3, entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations. What number we are reading? 21, huh? Okay. So those who have access to um, digital text, text 21, 1, 321. Tataha saptadashe
Saptadashe
jataha
Jataha
satyavatyam
Satyavatyam
parasarat
Parasarat
chakre
Chakre
veda
Taroh
shakha
Shaka
dristva
Drishtva
pumso
Pumso
alpa
Alpa
medasaha
Medasaha
तथा सप्तदशे जातः
Tata Saptadashe Jataha
सत्यवत्यं पराशरत्
Satyavatyam Parasarat
चक्रे विदतरो शाखा
Chakre Vedataro Shaka
धृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
Drishva Pumso
धृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
Drishva Pumsolpamedasaha
तथा सप्तदशे जत्तः
Tata Saptadashe Jata
पराशरत्
Satyavatyam Parasharat
चक्रे विदातरो शाखा
Chakre Vedataro Shaka
धृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
Drishva Pumsolpamedasaha
तथा सप्तदशे जातः
Tata Saptadashe Jataha
सत्यवत्यं पराशरत्
Satyavatyam Parasharat
चक्रे विदातरो शाखः
Chakre Vedataro Shaka
धृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
Drishva Pumsolpamedasaha
तथा सप्तादशे जातः
तथा
Tata
सप्तदशे
Saptadashe
जातः
Jataha
सत्यवत्यं पराशर
सत्यवत्यं
Satyavatyam
पराशरात्
Parasarat
चक्रे वेदातरो शाखा
Chakre
चक्रिवेदतरो
Vedataro
शाखा
Shaka
दृष्ट्वा पुंसो अल्पमेधस
दृष्ट्वा
Drishva
पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
Pumsolpamedasaha
तथा सप्तदशे जातः
तथा
Tata
सप्तदशे
Saptadashe
जातः
Jataha
सत्यवत्यं पराशरात्
सत्यवत्यं
Satyavatyam
पराशरात्
Parasarat
चक्रवेदातरो शाखा
Chakre
चक्रिवेदतरो
Vedataro
शाखा
Shaka
दृष्टपुंसो अल्पमेधसा
दृष्ट्वा
Drishva
पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
Pumsolpamedasaha
तथा सप्तदशे जातः
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
सत्यवत्यं पराशरत्
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
चक्रिवेदतरो शाखः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
तथा सप्तदशे जातः सत्यवतं पराशरत्
सत्यवत्यं पराशरत्
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
चक्रिवेदतरो शाखः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः तथा सप्तदशे जप्तः सत्यवत्यं पराशरत् चक्रे वेदतरो शाखः दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः ततः thereafter saptadashe in the 17th incarnation jatah advented satyavatam in the womb of Satyavati Parasarat by Parashara Muni Chakre prepared Veda Tarohu of the desire tree of the Vedas Shakaha branches Dristva by seeing Pumsaha the people in general Alpamedasaha less intelligent. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashara Muni. And he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parasara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. Purport. Originally, the Veda is one, but Sri Vyasadeva divided the original Veda into four, namely Sama, Yajur, Rig, Atharva. And then again, they were explained in different branches, like the Puranas and the Mahabharata. A Vedic language and the subject matter are very difficult for ordinary. The highly intelligent Father are in the present age no better than the Shudras or the women, the twice born men, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. A cultural purificatory process known as Samskaras. But because of the bad influence of the present age, the so-called members of the Brahmana and other high order families are no longer highly cultured. They are called the Dvija Bandhus, or the friends, family members of the twice. Srila Vyasadeva divided the Vedas into various branches and sub-branches for the sake of the less intelligent classes like the Dvija Bandhus, Shudras, and women. Translation again. In the Satyavati through Parasara Muni. And he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. So here there's mention of the Dvijas, the twice born. So the twice born are those who take up transcendental knowledge by following certain prescribed uh, purificatory processes called Samskaras. It used to be that uh, unless one is able, going back something like 7 generations before, the system was that one would have what they call family guru. Families would have their family guru, and it would all be recorded. All of the different important events, in particular the samskaras, beginning with the Garbhodhana samskara. They would be recorded, and so I think in some temples, some of the older temples in India, maybe in South India especially, they still keep record going back so many generations. So it means that unless one established that, yes, my parents, they followed the samskaras, my great parents, my grandfather, my grandmother, going back 7 generations, if one could not establish this, then one was considered unqualified or Shudra. Shudra means one who is not performing those uh, purificatory processes. And they are especially meant for the members in society who are meant by nature, by qualification, but by qualification, who are meant to be the natural, we could say, um, guardians. There are natural leaders in society who are meant to be the guardians of society. Guardian means classes. It is only when members of the Krishna consciousness movement, especially the householders, Vyasas, therefore householders have a very major role and major responsibility to bring forth qualified individuals, elevated souls who, being born in Vaishnava families, will themselves, of course, uh, having responsible parents, follow the various samskaras. And in this way, individuals within society will become qualified, which is the major problem in modern day society. We're not having qualified individuals. So this verse, of course, is explaining how Srila Vyasadeva, who is, as we recite every day, this one particular verse explaining how he is the literary incarnation of Godhead, who has uh, given us, people in this Kali Yuga, has given us uh, the Vedic knowledge by dividing it in different categories. And what is also very important for us to understand, just like Krishna explains also in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaisya sarvayat aham eva vedyo vedantakrit vedavid eva chaham. So the essence and the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. And that is especially presented to us by Srila Vyasadeva in the form of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We were discussing the other day how Srila Jiva Goswami, who is recognized as the foremost philosopher of his time and even to the present day, he has very authoritatively established that in our present situation in Kali Yuga, it is more important for us to read, to study the Srimad Bhagavatam than it is to study the original Vedas. Because to study the original Vedas, one must be highly qualified in terms of just speaking about or understanding Sanskrit. We have a Sanskrit student here actually from South India who just came a few days. He's just visiting us for the next maybe 2 weeks. There are different levels of Sanskrit. They have, I believe there's 3 levels of Sanskrit. One is like common, ordinary Sanskrit. And then one is very high. What is the name for those? Do you know? Hey, you're studying Sanskrit. It's like they say, Cholti Vasa. Is it? Vasa means language. It's like we say common language. Then there is actually in Indonesia, very interesting, in Bali. Bali, because Bali still has remnants of the Vedic culture. So they have, if you speak, you have to be careful. You have to know to whom you're speaking to. Because if you're speaking to somebody who's from a higher level, you have to speak a particular language. And if you speak to ordinary people, that it's a different language. So like this, Sanskrit actually has divisions. You can find out when you go back. Um, in some purports, the Prabhupada explains, I forget the actual names, but to read the original Vedas, a very high level of Sanskrit, such qualified people are not there today. And therefore, the Puranas were written in a different Sanskrit language, easier to access, easier to understand. And of course, it's not only because of the language, but within the Bhagavatam also. The Bhagavatam is especially glorified because it is giving us the essence of the Vedic knowledge. Uh, it is described as the Amala Purana. Of all the Puranas, of all the 18 Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam stands out as the Amala Purana, the pure, spotless Purana. And therefore, that is why personalities like Vaisheshika Prabhu is promoting the Bhagavatam. And for the last quite a few years, especially, um, all over, in all of our centers around the world, this Bhadra Purnima, which we celebrated just last month, is highlighting the importance of the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, we are reciting every day, is our means of conquest. That is how consciousness is not a conquest, physical conquest, like people are trying to conquest in different countries now, one another, by bombs and by weapons. Ours is a cultural conquest. Cultural conquest based on knowledge, education, culture. Uh, Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he would often remind us, ours is not simply another religious movement. Krishna consciousness is a cultural movement, an educational movement, and a social movement. Educational movement because of all of this wonderful knowledge. Actually, it is highest knowledge. Raja Vidya. Raja Vidya Radaguyam Pavitram Vidam Uttamam. Highest. and there and therefore that knowledge needs to be presented systematically. And that is why Srila Prabhupada wanted us, the only way to properly introduce this knowledge systematically, and that's connected with the first purpose of, there are 7 purposes that Prabhupada formulated for the Krishna consciousness movement to systematically propagate the culture of Krishna culture, which is called Krishna consciousness. And therefore establishing Varnashram colleges and Gurukulas, they are the foundational pillars, actually, educational pillars for training and educating individuals to again become qualified brahmanas, to again become qualified kshatriyas, to again become qualified vaishyas. I met a group of devotees a few days, just 2 or 3 days ago, who are very interested in developing self-sufficient communities, residents of Mayapur. So we had a nice discussion. Then at one point, because we ended up talking that this is not possible unless we have kshatriyas. Kshatriyas are the ones who organize society. They are the ones in charge of the village. Brahmana is guiding, but the kshatriya is administrating. That is. So then at one point, one of the devotees asked me, "Do you have any kshatriyas? Do you have any spare kshatriya?" That is why we are having Varnashram College here to train proper brahmanas, proper kshatriyas, proper vaishyas, proper shudras also. Shudra need training. Shudra is actually very elevated position. Anyone within the system of Varna and Ashrama is actually very qualified if one is actually following as recommended. Sri Narada Muni explains how actual Shudra, he must have 8 or 9 qualities. not just one quality. Bhagavad Gita speaks about Shudra means he is servant, he is engaged in serving. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's more details. Means it is not easy to become a good Shudra. It's very easy to become a bad Shudra. Most people today are bad Shudras. But good Shudra, um, at least two of the four pillars of Dharma he must have. There are four qualities that are the foundation of Vedic culture, foundational pillars of the Vedic culture. Satyam, Daya, Tapa, Saucham. Satyam, truthfulness. Daya, compassion. Tapa, discipline or austerity. And Saucham, purity, cleanliness. So Srila Narada Muni mentions how Shudra, he must, good Shudra, he must have the quality of Satyam, truthfulness. You don't want that. You don't want a servant who's lying to you. Honesty, truthfulness. And also, you want to have a Shudra who is Shaucham, having a quality of purity, cleanliness. Because normally people have servants to clean the house. If he doesn't know what is cleanliness, like in the early days of our, uh, of our movement, um, I remember if one was a new devotee, you know, he would he would be given the service of cleaning, of keeping the temple clean. And you know, one may think, well, what's the big deal? But to keep any house clean, because nowadays people have forgotten the meaning of cleanliness. But cleanliness means you have to uh, wipe off everything. No dust anywhere. One devotee, one of my godbrothers, was telling that he was the president of a temple. I forget which temple, and somewhere in America. And Prabhupada was to visit their temple, and so he made sure that everywhere in the temple, everything was like spotless. That's how our temples were in the early days, especially. So you had devotees actually, that was their service, all day service, cleaning. Cleaning, 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 and cleaning. So Prabhupada came to the temple, and I mean, wherever Prabhupada went, everyone was like on guard, you know. I mean, everyone was very conscious that Prabhupada, he would notice anything that was not right. So Prabhupada went, started walking around, and he was checking. Um, and so he went all over the place. And this devotee, uh, his name is Bhakta, actually Bhakta Prabhu. He's living in Thailand at present. So he was telling how that, because that was like for him a historical moment. I'll tell you why also. Not only because Prabhupada visited, and so after going around all of the different rooms, and Prabhupada on the top, you know, of the shelves looking if there was any, and nothing, there was nothing. Everything was spotless because this devotee knew that Prabhupada is a pure devotee of the Lord, and Prabhupada, he likes places to be spotless, clean. Yeah. So, anyways, Prabhupada was so happy that everything was in order, everything was super clean. So Prabhupada, after walking around, he turned to that devotee who was with him. He was the temple president, And Prabhupada actually embraced him. Uh, you can imagine, how that devotee, so he remembers this visit of Prabhupada, and especially Prabhupada being so pleased that he actually embraced him. Very good. This was not this. Rather, devotees sometimes they would hide things in the closet somewhere, thinking that Prabhupada would never. Prabhupada would go, "What's in there?" Open, and they would open, and it was like messy, full of uh, last minute things like that. So these qualities mm, are absolutely essential. As a matter of fact, in the seventh canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 11, which is the beginning of Narada Muni's whole expose or presentation on the science of Varnashrama Dharma, he gives a list of 30 qualities that are needed for one to actually be recognized as a human being. Means he must possess these 30 qualities. And the first of those 30 qualities are the ones I just mentioned. They are the four pillars of Dharma, Satyam, Daya, Tapasaucham. And then Prabhupada explains how when there will be a sufficient number of people, of devotees, having these qualities, then we can more easily introduce Varnashrama. For communities to function properly, what is the most important aspect of any community? Relationship. If people get along together, community will flourish. Will be Everyone will be happy. If there is, or if there are, usually there are, not only is, there are many problems, uh, usually between people, between devotees, because of not proper understanding of sambandha, uh, relationship, proper relationship. Proper relationships cannot come about unless one develops the necessary. So these they become manifest gradually. These qualities will be based on one's level of purity, isn't it? And we become purified by associating with the instructions that are given, especially in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which are more easily understood uh, by people in general in um, in Kali Yuga. So um, so therefore, we're, this is the 17th incarnation, Srila Vyasadeva. So therefore, we are especially indebted to this personality, to this particular incarnation of the Lord, Srila Vyasadeva, for having compiled the Vedic knowledge, dividing the original Vedas into four, and then giving us the various other branches of knowledge, which actually in his Sat Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami establishes how when the Lord, at the beginning of every creation, when he uh, gives this knowledge to Lord Brahma, uh, the Vedic knowledge is given at the beginning of every creation. So the Lord, not only does he give the original Vedas, but he also gives supplementary. So this Srila Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha has nicely explained Actually, the whole Tattva Sandarbha is based on Vedas and how knowledge, original knowledge, pure knowledge, highest knowledge is coming from the Vedas. And the Vedas are not only the Vedas, but the Vedas as spoken to the Lord, that's called Shruti, Shruti Shastra. There's Shruti and Smriti. So Shruti is coming directly from the Lord. And in addition to the Vedas, there is supplementary. Uh, the Ishopanishads, the Puranas, they are also coming from the Lord. So therefore, in our sampradaya, we accept all of this as authoritative knowledge, and therefore, uh, therefore the importance, especially of the uh, what is called Grantaraj. That's why it's called Grantaraj. Uh, it is Granta. It is not Granta. What is the difference between um, how do you say um, how do you say book in Sanskrit? No. uh, I have to be careful here not to argue with a Sanskrit. Granta is especially means scripture. Ah, pusta. Yeah, actually in Bali, a lot of words that they use in Balinese language are from Sanskrit. Actually, the one of the islands is called Java. The capital of Jakarta is on the island of Java. And even today, 80% of the Javanese, not Japanese, Javanese, 80% of the Javanese language is Sanskrit to this day, you know. Yeah. Um, and for library, they call Prapustaka. Some, yeah, they have it a little slightly different, but Pustaka, no? Pustakam means book, eh? Books. Huh?
Three lingas there. Pullinga, Strilinga, Napumsakalinga. Pustakam, it is Napumsakalinga.
You lost me. Linga. Linga means
Gender.
gender.
He, she, it. He is.
She, he, it. Okay, gender.
Like that in Sanskrit also.
Okay.
Pustakam is Napumsakalinga. Ramaha, Pullinga.
So then it's not completely wrong that people are promoting more than two genders. In language, I, that's a whole other topic in itself, of course. But yeah, he, she, and it, three genders. That's called lingam.
Linga, gender. Male, female, trans. Like that in Sanskrit also.
Male, female, and
Trans.
transgender. Uh, Actually, in the Vedic, yeah, it's interesting. That would make a very after you finish your master's in Sanskrit, you should do a PhD uh, on the subject matter of he, she, and it in terms of language, and because then that will connect with. Because I believe in Sanskrit they have also like that, right? Yeah. So what is he called in Sanskrit?
Pullinga.
Pulinga, and she
Strilinga.
Strilinga. Pulinga
Pullinga.
male.
Male.
Pulinga.
Male words.
Huh?
Ramaha.
Ramaha.
Kiranaha.
Okay.
Comes under Pullinga.
Pulinga. Pulinga, Strilinga, and
Napumsakalinga. Napumsakalinga.
Napumsa. Okay.
Na um. na stri, na pumsa,
Na
na
pu-
pumsa.
ah,
Pum means pullinga,
ah,
sa means strilinga, na means na.
so
Not
not he, not she. Napumsalinga. Okay, interesting. This is our small lesson in Sanskrit this morning. uh, that's very good. Yeah, actually, uh, we should introduce even before our Gurukul begins, while you're here, some basic Sanskrit classes. You ready to do? Can do? Yeah, simple. Yes.
I think we call Prakrita Bhasha, Madhyama Bhasha, Prauda Bhasha.
Yes. Bhasa means
Language.
language.
In Sanskrit, Prakrita means all in villages they talk.
Prakrita.
Prakrita.
Okay, I think in
We
Bengal
can't
they call it,
understand that.
in Bengal they call Cholti Vasa. Cholti, you know? What's it? Cholti. Uh,
Current language.
huh?
Local language.
Local, like all that. Cholti. Yeah.
Madhyama means what we, after learning, we talk. Like conversation.
Yeah, yeah. That's called Prakrita.
No, no. Madhyama.
Madhyama.
Prakrita means some other language. We can't understand that. It's
Okay.
from ancient.
Okay.
Prauda means in Vedas all that. That we can't understand.
Which one?
Prauda Bhasha.
Prouda.
Praudha.
Prouda. Yeah, 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 like that. There are different levels. One of our villages in Bellary, the whole village now they're learning Sanskrit, conversational Sanskrit. Actually, we should introduce conversational Sanskrit so that we can all have a class in Sanskrit. And if all of our devotees learns conversational Sanskrit, then then we won't have any problem with Italian language, French language, German language, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, any last minute point, comment, or question?
Shudra should not read Vedas. Right? So, Upanishads, Puranas are made for Shudras only. And Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Puranas are made for Shudras. And Vedas are only for Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Shudras. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Chaturvarnamaya system, Guna Karma Vibhagasha.
Yes.
Guna and Karma, the four varnas depends on Guna and Karma. If
Yes.
Brahmin, born from a Brahmin family, he doesn't follow all Brahminic culture,
Right.
he will become Shudra only.
He will
But
become.
he is Brahmana.
He will be, as mentioned here, Dvijabandhu.
But he can read. If a Shudra follows all Brahmanical culture, he can read Veda.
We are introducing Vaishnava culture.
Yes.
So Vaishnava culture is actually above Varnashrama culture.
Above Shudra.
Vaishnava culture is above Varnashrama culture. Yeah, but our acharyas are introducing Daiva Varnashrama. So this Daiva Varnashrama, that is Vaishnava culture. If Daiva is not there, if only Varnashrama is there, then all of these rules and regulations come into place. But when we introduce Daiva culture, actually Prabhupada translates Varnashrama as divine culture. Varnashrama is actually divine culture. And our recent acharyas have added the name Daiva, Daiva Varnashrama, to underline that actual Varnashrama culture is meant to have Krishna in the center, Bhakti in the center. So this Daiva Varnashrama is Vaishnava culture because within Daiva Varnashrama the activities we perform, they don't incur karmic reaction. It is bhakti. Uh, So therefore, all of these rules and regulations that are there, that is for non-Vaishnava culture, right? And so it takes some time to sort that out or to understand that.
The Vedas we can't read independently.
Yes, actually, we
We
cannot.
should read with Guru, but
Uh,
if you ask Guru, they will ask you are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra. If we are Shudras, so they won't teach you.
yeah,
In
this is
UP also.
that is uh, falling that is falling in the category of asuric vanasama, not full, complete, pure understanding. Uh, guna and karma. So even though I may not be born in a Brahmana family, by association, if I develop some qualities, then I can receive knowledge from Veda. I can receive.
We
Uh,
can't read. We don't have rights to read Vedas.
everyone has right to read the Vedas if he has.
Shudras are not having.
That is that is in the system of Asuric Varnashrama. In Daiva Varnashrama, Shudra can read Vedas. Yeah.
Which
Uh,
Veda?
actually, to read, uh, hearing, reading requires some qualification, um, especially performing jagyas. One has to be Brahmana. Yeah. But we allow everyone to hear Vedic knowledge, and especially that is the point we were making a little earlier. The original Vedas cannot be understood unless one is qualified. Um, so therefore, um, as explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, most people nowadays they don't have the ability to understand or to read the original Vedas, and therefore, uh, what is easier for us to understand and to read is the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the one chapter is, the title is Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. Yeah. Uh, Within the Bhagavatam, everything is is contained within the Bhagavatam, and everyone can have access. Everyone has access to the Bhagavatam. But certain things like performing jagyas, one needs to have certain qualifications. Okay, I think we need to close here. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri